Hey Hamza, I see that you're logged in the call. Give me a
Hey,
thumbs up.
Professor.
Okay, great. I can hear you. You can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Love it. Thank you. Welcome to Finance Statement Analysis. For those of you who might be in the room, the syllabus created an error. I was already through that. I can't do most of the class, which is a strategy that got me all the way through undergraduate school. So I welcome that from all of you procrastinators in the room, or you of a kind. At any rate, the syllabus says that this class takes place in 211. It's actually 213 or whatever. So I'll get that updated and reposted. You all found it, so not a problem. This message already needs to be heard by everybody that's down in 211 right now, because I thought it was the wrong the wrong syllabus, but we'll get it worked out. So welcome. We are Financial Statement Analysis. This is a blended class. So we have undergraduates and graduates in the same room, which works out pretty well. You're gonna hear the same lesson. You're gonna get the same assignments. You're gonna get the same exams. But I'm gonna curve it relative to the class that you're actually in. So I don't hold the undergraduates to the same standard that I do the graduates. And a full third of your semester grade is gonna be a big research project that we're working on for the next 16 weeks. And that's graded a little bit. More stringently, I guess you could say, for those of you in the master's program, notwithstanding, I've had a lot of students in the master's that find their way in here after a couple of years off, for life, whatever. And it's been a few semesters or a few years since you've had the prereq of accounting for this class. Get help early rather than later. That's the one thing that trips students up. That's probably the biggest reason for students to drop the class, is that they just need an accounting refresher. So we're gonna spend a couple of weeks refreshing some of that material. I think you'll find the first few weeks of this class to be familiar. Hopefully you've taken most of this at some point in the near past. So it's a nice way to ease into the semester. But by the time we get to weeks 4, 5, and 6, we're gonna be facing into some very technical areas of accounting. And it's gonna feel like real accounting work. So if you're an accounting major, if you're taking this class as an accounting elective, you probably do very well. If you're like me and you're a finance person at heart, my career is in investment management, then accounting is a means to an end. And that's how we approach this class throughout the semester. It's an applied accounting class. We're not studying GAAP. We're not creating an exercise in how to report these financials to the public through the SEC filing system. We're breaking down the accounting so that we can use it for our own purposes. And our own purposes this semester are going to be whether or not we can find a profitable investment idea to put to work there. And then after we analyze the accounting for 10 weeks, we'll dovetail into discounted cash flow analysis and more traditional financial metrics. And we'll try to see if we can't end up with a good soccer ball. And that's happening. I can think of 2 instances where I was so impressed by the caliber of the research that came out of this class. I actually did my own work to verify everything that I was being told, but after I kicked the tires a little bit, I put some of that money to work in my own advisory firm. So that was fun to be able to share that story with some of our clients. And in one instance, a gentleman that was working for Burns and Mac that does research on solar power investment, I invited him to share that with some of our clients. So a little background on me. I teach this class because it's at the intersection of finance and accounting. And I have the CPA credentials, so I'm an accountant, kind of an accountant. I don't practice as an accountant. I've never worked for a big 4 accounting firm, but I do have the CPA credentials. And then I also have the CFA credentials, which are those that you need to pursue a career in investment management. If you want to go to work for, I guess you're locally, if you American Century, you're local on there are plenty of CFAs and appointed or creative planning and some of the larger investment advisory firms here in town. I work for a firm called 2 West Advisors. So we were recently purchased by an outfit out of Fort Worth called Higginbotham Insurance. We manage money for retirement plans, institutional investors, individual investors. All told, we manage about $6 billion. So that allows me to share a lot of this work with our clients, and my day-to-day is still with what's going on in the market and how does that affect our client counts, and what does that mean for your typical 401k or retiree account. So the big news was that there's a $40 billion buyback plan by Treasury Secretary Bassett. And what's that going to do to yields, and how does that affect the portfolios that we're building on that? So that's a little bit about me. Any questions about my background or what I do or my approach to this class? Tonight's conversation, focused conversation. It's a one-way conversation. I find this time to be really boring for you all. And it's two-way conversation, it seems to be a little bit more stimulating for everybody involved, so don't be afraid to interrupt me at any point. You'll find several times this semester, I sound like I have no idea what I'm talking about, and sometimes I get confused. So feel free to call me out on whatever, BS I might be talking about. Put it on that particular day. We can take a deep dive into whatever subject we have to do. Tonight I'm going to lecture a little bit on the syllabus. Not a lecture, I'm just going to take you through the strategies that have been successful for students in the past. So this is like the career notes. I'm going to tell you how to do well in this class. I'm going to tell you how I teach, what my expectations are. I think you'll find me to be a little bit type B when it comes to teaching this class. That has its pros and cons. I have a day job. I do this job as a hobby. Don't take offense to what I say next, but all of you all, everybody in this room is at the absolute bottom of my priority list every day. What I hope you gain in return is real world perspective and the opportunity to engage me, pick my brain a little bit on the finance industry in Kansas City, connect with me over LinkedIn, network a little bit. If I can help any of you out in your careers, I'm happy to do so. And hopefully this semester you can get to know you a little bit and maybe we can work that out a little bit. But because I can be so hard to get a hold of, I give all of you permission to pester the hang out. Call me, email me, text me, call me, email me, text me again. It's never urgent. That's my mindset. You're gonna feel like it's urgent because you've taken a lot of classes at UMKC and you've had a lot of experiences with instructors that make things urgent. If you miss a deadline, I don't care. I'll still grade it. I'll still take it. The syllabus has deadlines for all of your homework assignments. Syllabus has deadlines for all your exams and all your reports. If you're a day late, I don't drop you. But in a sense of fairness, if you are late, okay, you have outstanding homework. When we have the test, if necessary, I'm gonna curve it. I'm gonna look at all the scores. And if the scores are low, I'm gonna add some points to your exam. You're not eligible for that curve if you don't have your homework. I don't think it's fair to award points to students who haven't kept up with the general pace of class. Do your homework, you're eligible for the curve. I'm not gonna count, if life gets in the way, you gotta turn it in late. But I'm also not gonna, you're not gonna be eligible for the curve. Otherwise, I'm very, very easy to deal with when it comes to just accommodating the stuff that gets in the way. Because we all have competing commitments, so I don't make this my number one priority. I don't expect for you to make it your number one priority. So you'll have a lot of questions about that, and that's fine. Just ask me again, and a third time, and a fourth time, and a fifth time, and we'll cover all this as we go. Okay, let's start with the syllabus. Okay. So just as an example of how accommodating I try to be, there's one student, just this week, I updated a student's grade from last semester because they needed the summer to finish their research report. He got it in, it was a pretty good report. It was on Pepsi, really liked it. So awarded him the points and his grade went from a D- to a B. And now he's gonna be able to graduate where he wasn't gonna be able to with a D-. So I'm glad everything worked out. In another irony of ironies that I try to remind myself of because things were getting in the way for me at one point in my undergraduate career, which was really less about studying and more about other things, but I failed this class twice because I missed the deadline to drop and I got too deep into the semester. I had other stuff going on. I just failed. So I had to take this very class 3 times before that. So there will never be any judgment from me if, like I said, life gets in the way and it's like that. You can take it another semester. Okay, so syllabus overview. We're actually in room 213. Like I say, we're gonna, let's see, I have this class. Man, I didn't even update the January through May. I thought I wonder. It should be mostly the same. I'll get those dates in that room updated and I'll repost it. But the Zoom link is still the same. Every week I open up a Zoom link. I think Hans is on the line tonight. We check the audio before we got going. These lectures are going to be recorded. And there's Zoom AI notes associated with these lectures. So that's me trying to accommodate you all in your schedules. If you're traveling, you have to miss a class, I'm going to post the recorded version of these classes on our YouTube channel. So if you ever miss a class, just go to the YouTube channel, it's going to be there. This class is also hybrid in nature. we meet 1 week on ground, and then the second week we meet virtual. Those lectures are recorded and posted to our YouTube channel. I'll show you where to find them. So again, try to meet you in a convenient spot wherever it works for you. Okay, prereqs, a little bit of accounting, a little bit of finance. I already mentioned where students typically get in trouble is lack of accounting or needing a little refresher there. Just call me Vern. Everybody calls me Vern. My availability, you can see there's my email right there. There's my phone. That's my cell phone. Feel free to text me. Just remind me who you are and what you want, and be persistent, and I'll try to accommodate as I can. Course description, you all made it into the class, so you have a pretty good idea of what financial statement analysis is. Check out the course objectives on your own. Those are kind of syllabus filler. We need some technical analysis and we need some ethical training and so on and so forth. Let me introduce you to the required materials. If you click on the link here in the syllabus, it's going to take you out to My Business Courses website. And this is the class associated with our textbook. So let's go to the course here. When you click on that link in the syllabus, it's going to bring you out here and it's going to ask you to enroll in the course. Once you enroll in the course, you're going to get access to our class shell. And our class shell has all of the homework assignments. It has a virtual version of the text. It has an audio version of the text. It has pre-recorded lectures from the authors of the text. So, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I've had students share that feedback with me. If you don't enjoy my lectures or for whatever reason, you just got something better to do at 5:30 on Monday, there's another version of these lectures that come with the text. You might like the authors better than me. So listen to both if you want to ace this class. But if you find that you just relate well to the authors and you're following along with the material and you're able to complete the homework and the tests are going well for you, use that strategy. What are we trying to do here? At the end of 16 weeks' time, we're trying to create an environment where we've imparted knowledge from the university into all of the minds that are sitting in this room. I don't really care how we do that. Now, my feelings aren't going to be hurt if I don't pay a part of that equation. I can just be a facilitator. Get the knowledge anywhere you want to. Show me that you got it on the exams and the research report, and then we'll assess a grade for that somehow at the end of the semester. So let me walk you through this little course shell, give you a tour of how this works. Okay. If I click on the course content over here, I'm going to go to Module 1. This course is laid out in 16 modules that correspond to the 16 weeks of class that we have. And as of tonight, you all have your first homework assignment, which is worth 10 points. There's 1,000 points in the semester, so this is not going to make or break you. But you'll click on this homework module and you'll come in here, and I think you have 5 multiple choice or Excel type spreadsheets. So this first module, this first question is, the following is selected financial information for General Mills for the recent fiscal year. So it lays out cost of goods sold, revenues, tax expense, so on and so forth. And then it just asks you to take that data and represent it in the income statement and balance sheet below. So that's a very basic accounting type problem. I told you the first few weeks would be review. That's review. The homework should be what I call guaranteed / available points, because you can take these online as many times as you want. So just hit the button that says take the homework assignment now, fill it out, click submit. Maybe you get a 5 out of 10. Okay, well, retake it immediately. Retake it. These are only 15-minute long homework assignments. Don't beat your head against the wall. It's really just to check in, kind of status check on how well you comprehended your knowledge. If you need to take it once or twice, take it once or twice. You can take it 50 times if you want. There's no reason why you shouldn't get all 10 points every week. So that's 10 points times 15 weeks is 150 points. That's 15% of your grade can just be, that ought to be, that's the way. Okay, back to module 1. That's where the homework is. And you'll also see that there's reading associated with that. If you want to pop open the book, there's the e-lectures that I mentioned just a moment ago. There's an e-lecture for every learning objective. And then lastly are guided examples. So if you need a guided example for something that's just a little bit more technical, look here in that drop-down menu, and there'll be one associated with every learning objective in this text. Okay, back to syllabus. Links to that book I just shared, links to any videos that you might need. There's a video link associated with, it'll just kind of walk you through the prompts that you need to get yourself enrolled. And then lastly, there's a student handout that gives you an overview of the course, kind of everything that I just shared with you. Okay. Individual assignments. Here's the due date. I have it, that first homework assignment is going to be due by 5:30 next Monday. But again, that's soft. All these due dates are soft with the exception of the exams. I do have to have those in at a certain time. But again, even with the exams, I'm going to open up an exam window and give you a whole week's worth of time to take it at your leisure. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the research project. Okay. First, I want to give you an example of what we'll be doing this semester. So let me toggle over here to Canvas. Now I'm in Canvas. I want to go down to maybe assignments. Is that where I have that? Nope. Modules. Okay. Research project. It's under modules about halfway down. I want to show you. Okay, some old sample reports. Let me click on this Qualcomm report. It's a pretty good example of what we're moving towards throughout the semester. Okay. So we'll talk a lot about this semester. Let me see if I can get a better view for you. Here we go. Okay, this is 72 pages. And it's broken down by distinct sections, and it's easier than it looks. And how's the university coming out and using artificial intelligence? Have you used AI in other classes? Okay, couple ahead of time. We're gonna use the heck out of it. We're gonna write this report with AI. And I don't really, this last semester was the first semester I did this. And I don't really know how to grade it yet. I don't really know what's expected from you all as students yet. But I do know that I'm uncomfortable letting you lead this class without an understanding of how to integrate artificial intelligence into the research that we do. I don't want AI to do the whole job, so it's like incumbent upon me as the instructor to try to facilitate some brain work and some artificial brain work. How do we meet in the middle? But I do know I'm uncomfortable with you all not knowing how to use it, because you're gonna leave this class and you're gonna go out and try to find a job or compete against other people that are using it every day. And I use it every day, and it's impressive. So we need to know how to use it. So AI will help us write these reports, but in the end, we need to break them down by an executive summary. So we have a cover page, it looks something like this. Then we have an executive summary supporting all of our thesis, what we believe to be true about the stack that we're working. And then we organize the 72-page paper, or however long it needs to be, in accordance with each of the modules. So there's 15 appendices, and each appendices takes a deeper dive on Qualcomm investigations as it relates to module 1. So tonight's module 1 is competitive intelligence and strategy. So we're talking about things like SWOT analysis, talking about things like orders by forces, we're talking about things like value chain. That is absolutely perfect job for artificial intelligence. You just go to Claude or ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a report on Qualcomm and do SWOT analysis of orders by forces and value chain. Absolutely done. And then it's your job to validate all that information, because you'll get some pretty silly stuff back if you're not getting it. But it does cut this up into bite-sized pieces. Okay, we will talk a lot about that report, but tonight I want everybody to click on the link in the syllabus under research project. It's going to take you out to this website. This is a website for the dividend aristocrats. This is a list of companies that have paid and raised their dividends for at least 25 years in a row. And it's a mark of stability. And if you come to this website and scroll down to the holdings section, I want you to select a company to do your research on from this holdings section. I have found that this list of dividend aristocrats, which, while they might not be the sexiest companies that you could invest in, they're certainly not any artificial intelligence companies that you can invest in. They have been around for long enough that they lend themselves very well to the type of analysis that we want to be doing. So pick from this list, Target, Abbott Labs, Medtronic, Nordstrom, pick one of those companies. And then what I want you to do is come back over here to our Canvas site. I want you to go to discussions. Okay. I want you to come to the company selection forum. And I want you to claim, oh, is this August 24? Caroline, did you just claim beauty? Nice. Okay. Yeah, you're ahead of me. Yeah, I'll try to talk faster. No, that's really good. Come in here and claim the company you want to do work on, because I don't want anybody teaming up into the cloud. I don't want anybody working on the same report. So it's first come, first serve. As soon as you claim it, it's yours, it belongs to you. Nobody else can do research on it. Look at what else is already claimed. So Caroline just took beauty, so nobody else can use health. And that's actually a company I've never done work on before. What is health?
Well, that's like, I didn't know about the pressure business, I didn't put in there.
Oh, so that's not a dividend aristocrat.
I'll go check.
Okay, yeah, go check. If it's not on that list, pick another one. But I know Pepsi's on that list, so next you're on Pepsi. Okay, you got it. Nice. Check last week's Barron's wrote an article on the year-to-date performance of Pepsi versus Coke. And Pepsi's a broader food products company than Coke is these days, but it still had some good analysis on Pepsi that might benefit you as you kind of jumpstart the report. Okay.
White Coke is offering Pepsi.
That sounds like the one. Yeah. Yeah. I listened to all these podcasts while I run in the morning, so I only get about 75% of them, but every once in a while I'll hear something and it'll stick, or I'll go back and look it up. Okay, so that's the research project. Let's talk a little bit about how the course breaks down according to your grade here. So I mentioned that there were 1,000 points in the semester. And here's how it breaks down. 200 points worth of homework. I showed you 150 points over the My Business Course website. And then there's 2 additional homework assignments, which I'll share with you here momentarily. Each exam, we have 3 exams. They're each worth 150 points. Those exams are going to separate the A's from the B's from the C's. I think you'll find that first exam, a lot of review. I generally see high marks on that first exam. And then the second exam, I see a much wider dispersion because that's much more technical material. So just be mindful of that. Scores tend to slip when we get to the second and third exam. But there's no final exam. I used to have a final exam with this class, and we had a big research report around the end of the year. And it stressed a lot of people out. And I get it. So I called it off. Yes, sir. Are those exams going to be in person or website? They're in the website. So what's going to happen is after we get to week 4, I'm going to say, okay, I've opened up the first exam. And then you're going to have a week to open up that website anytime you want. It doesn't have to be in class. You can be on the road. And it's open book, open note. So you'd ask yourself, okay, well, what's so challenging about an open book, open note exam? If you have a time, you can literally look up the right answer to every question in the exam. What makes it challenging is it's time. You only have 90 minutes to take the exam. So here's your rule of thumb. You need to take that exam with the mindset that you're gonna immediately know about 2/3 of the material. You need to study, you need to prepare, you need to know the homework problems, and you need to know about 2/3 of the material. You're gonna have time to research, look up maybe 1/3 of the questions. But if you show up to that exam thinking, well, open book, open note, I don't need to prepare, you will fail the exam because you'll run out of time. So yeah. The research report is 300 points. That's a full third of your grade. We'll talk about it every time we meet. There's a portion of that exam that's dedicated to every module. So I'll give you some insights and talk a little bit more about what I expect to see on that. Just like the homework, if you want to work ahead and submit that research report in advance before we get to the last week of class, I'll rate it, give you some feedback, and then you can turn it in again. So if you want those 300 points, you just have to be proactive enough to actually get that thing done in time for me to look at it, give you feedback, and critique it, and tell you what would make that paper an A. Then you can resubmit it. And today, I'll tell you how to get an A. I've only ever had in the history of this class 2 people take me up on that offer. Because by the time the end of the semester gets here, you all have full votes of classes, I imagine. Some of you probably work, and some of you probably have family and other stuff that you're dealing with. It's just really hard to manage getting that paper in 2 to 3 weeks early and enough time for me to give you feedback. But the offer is real, and I will honor it if any of you aren't taking up on it. There's a recorded research presentation that's worth 50 points. Those are gimme points. If you do the research presentation, you get the points. The block school likes for all of us to get a little opportunity to do some public speaking. And in years past, I've had a big lightning round where everybody gets up and gets to sell their stock presentation. But when I switched it to video, it just seemed to be a lot easier for everybody tonight to submit a weekly video and get those points. There's it's kind of funny. The last time I did this in person, I let everybody self-identify. those who were afraid of public speaking and those who weren't. Those who were afraid, those who wanted to leave class early opted to speak in front of the whole group. We're like, okay, well, as soon as you give your speech, you can leave. So people would get up, speak, and leave, and if you're afraid of speaking in public, you just have to listen. Everybody has the cost of that. Then you only had to give leave. There wasn't anybody that left in the room. And that seemed to go with all, although it's a little bizarre. Okay, here's the grading scale. 90, 80, 70, 60. That's probably looks familiar. And let's look at how this class lays out. So tonight, your homework is to read module 1, view the e-lecture and the text, and the guided exam. Now, I have laid out the successful strategy for getting an A in this class. If you're an A in this class, then read module 1, view the e-lecture, and the guiding examples. And that's probably going to take you an additional 90 minutes outside of class to do all that. You devote 90 minutes to this class for every 1 hour we're on the ground, you're going to do very, very well. In addition to the homework assignment on the My Business course, that shell, I want from you, this is worth 10 points, but it's really more than that, and I'll explain why. I want a 3x5 information card with a color picture, so I can match a face to the name, a full name, what you prefer to be called by, what else? Your graduate, your major, your graduation date, your desired career track, so I can kind of hopefully match what you're trying to do with some of the lectures that I'm giving in this class. And then something else memorable, anything else memorable, I don't care, just something memorable. And over the course of the next 15 weeks, I'm gonna try to match some names. I'll fail, but there will be some effort there on my part. Now, here's where that matters. It's only worth 10 points, but at the end of the semester, there are going to be people in this room that are teetering on the borderline between A and B or B. And like I said, the goal of this class is to impart knowledge. How we measure whether or not we achieved that goal is an imperfect sum. It's just absolutely imperfect. No matter how I lay out the syllabus, we can't measure that perfectly. So there's a lot of fudge time. So when we get to the end of the semester, and somebody's teetering on an A or a B, we can easily push them in one direction or another. I'm going to look at my 3x5 card, and I'm going to be able to say, oh yeah, there's Caroline, or there's John, or there's somebody else. But yeah, I recognize that person. They were in my class. They contribute. I have evidence. Now, if I go to my 3x5 pile and you were one of the people that never showed because you liked the e-lectures, totally fine. You were one of the people that I didn't have any relationship with. Well, then the grading it just lays out as a factual spreadsheet type effort. Okay, well, here's the spreadsheet. That's what I submit. So how you treat this class is kind of how I treat the class too. So the 3x5 card is fun for me, and it does help me there. And then we're going to move through the next 15 weeks methodically in accordance with the textbook. Module 2 begins the first module. Module 2 begins the first section of our research project. So the first thing I want you to do is to go up and find the proxy associated with whatever company that you pick. Let's do that right now. Somebody give me the name of the company they're working on. I heard a whole bunch of them. Somebody say it louder.
Realty Income Group.
Okay, Realty Income Group. Ticker is just O. Realty Income Group. Ticker is just O. Realty Income Group. I'm going to type in investor relations. Realty Income Investors. This is, so I'm taking you through these clicks because this is where you should all start with the company that you're working on. So here we are with the Realty Income Group, Investor Relations. website, and the first thing they have on their site is an investor presentation. And this is going to be typical for most of the companies that you're working on. Click on this. And remember, this is how the company presents themselves to the world. So this is what the company wants you, as the investor, to know about them, which means you have got to take this with a grain of salt. Why else would we do the financial statement analysis? If we didn't have to take this with a grain of salt, and we can just believe everything that they said at face value, and we wouldn't have to take a deeper dive anyway. Take this with a grain of salt, and then we'll spend the rest of the semester asking ourselves some pretty critical questions about how they're using the accounting to present themselves to the world. But on this page, you're also going to find SEC filings somewhere. %90 of the time you'll find SEC filings. There's the link down at the bottom, SEC filings. And then you have 4-year, go back. It's probably not available for 2026 yet, so we'll go all years, all forms. We want the proxy and information statement, and we'll click search. There it is, the proxy statement. It's DEF 14A and DEF 14A additional proxy soliciting materials. So you can go click on the proxy statement. Here it is. Okay. So this is pretty daggum lengthy. This looks like it goes 67 pages. So with artificial intelligence being what it is, we can just click on a little Claude here. Log into Claude. Okay, so what I want you to find out, and this used to be so much more time consuming without AI, but let's use it because we have it. I want you to find out how the executives of Realty Income Group or any other company are being paid. I want you to find out what their salary is, and I want you to find out what their incentive compensation. Their incentive compensation is going to be linked to something. Earnings per share, revenue growth, return on invested capital. I want you to find out what that is. And then for the next 15 weeks, we're going to play this little game called Follow the Penny. When we break down the accounting, there are certain estimates that we're required to make. There are different accounting treatments that we're going to have a choice between. We can choose a capital lease, choose an operating lease. We have international treatment for taxations. We have 15 weeks of stuff. And I'm going to ask you, if it was your intention to select the accounting treatment that would maximize your payback, would you select accounting treatment A or would you select accounting treatment B? You can only know that if you understand the incentive comp and what it's linked to. So that's why the first assignment coming out of this class is to understand the incentive comp, your management teams, and what it's linked to. And then for the next 15 weeks, we're going to say, okay, well, we know their comps linked to earnings per share. Which one of these accounting treatments that are available to them do they pick if their intention was to maximize their comp? And if nothing else, I'm teaching you how to get yourselves paid when you step into the CFO. Because when you understand all that, make the decisions for yourself. Okay, so now we come over here to Claude and we say, analyze the comp packages and especially incentive comp and what it's linked to for the execs. Something just that simple, and you're off. And Claude's going to stay working on it. It's going to analyze that proxy, and it's going to give you a whole bunch of details, and then it's going to be your job to go back and make sure that it's A, been thorough, and B, been accurate, and giving you information that you can use throughout the semester. Okay. So try to have that homework done in the next 2 weeks. And that's going to give us a base to build off of as we move into weeks 3 and 4. The highlighted sections of the syllabus are going to be virtual classes. So I'll send you a reminder before week 3 with a link to that class on our YouTube site. Click on that link. We'll watch the recorded lecture on YouTube. Supplement that with the lectures in the class shell, and then we'll be back for weeks 4 and beyond. And then it's just a matter of rinse and repeat as we work our way through revenue recognition and the balance sheet, intercorporate entities, so on and so forth. And then by the time we get to week 11, we're into forecasting financial statements. And that'll be a real line of demarcation because we step away from the accounting and we step into the world of finance. And we basically spend the rest of the semester creating a discounted cash flow analysis and a financial report on the stuff that we build up. And I had something else on the tip of my tongue and it's it'll either come back around or it wasn't that important. Okay, and that is our syllabus. Any questions there? Okay, well, if something occurs to you, just give me a shout. Okay, now I want to give you an overview of our Canvas site. So I already showed you the syllabus. I need to update that a little bit. I showed you the discussion forum. There is a homework discussion board out here. If you get caught up on any of the homework assignments, this is meant to be kind of a student collaboration zone. If I'm slow to respond, you can post questions here. I don't expect you to use that very much because if you go to modules, you'll see, let's see, resources for students. Those are provided by the block school. Instructor resources, you don't need those. Start here. Some information on the proxy analysis, which we just talked about. And then the reason why I don't expect you to need the homework collaboration zone is, I have posted the solutions manual. Or we're in version 7 of the text. So this is the solutions manual that's relevant to you. If you ever find yourself just having way more trouble with a homework assignment than you feel like you should, you just want to beat your head against the wall. It's not coming to you naturally for whatever reason. Download the solutions and you're going to be able to find an example. It's not the question word for word, but it's an example. What the authors will do, will they use a dynamic tool that takes a homework question and subtly changes the numbers in that question. So you get the exact same setup, you get the exact same rationale, and the solutions manual will explain how all of these homework problems are, it will give you the rationale for how they all work. When you get stuck, go find the problem that's similar in the solutions manual. Read the rationale. Go back to the homework in the My Business Course to Show, and that has solved 99% of all questions. So that helps me out because I'm not constantly fielding questions, and it helps students out because you get directly from the authors about why this homework is set up the way it is and what the rationale for completing that is, ties it back to the gap and explains the different tackling methodology. So that has been very, very helpful for just the overall administration of this class. Okay, then we have some historical research projects. It's too early for that, but as we get into the semester, I'm going to ask you to come out here and look at some of the samples. I'm going to have you look at some of the templates. That I'm a stickler when it comes to that research project about the form of it. I want them all to look identical. I need the front page of that report to be identical for everybody in this room, because it's gonna get to the second week of December. This class is gonna end. I'm gonna get 30 research reports on Friday. The university is gonna ask me to submit grades on Tuesday. So I have Saturday, Sunday, Monday to grade 30 70-page papers. And one of the ways I do that is by demanding that they're all uniform. Because when they're all uniform, I know where to go, I know what to look for, I can move through them pretty quickly, and I've trained my mind to key in on a few things, and that's very, very helpful for me. So I will let you submit them right up to the last minute, but I do have to require that they look identical so that I can get it grades out of time. Sample old reports you'll find out here. There's a Bloomberg guide out here. Show of hands, how many of you have used the Bloomberg? Okay, just a few. It's just catty corner from us in this building. If you go over to the finance lab, we have a Bloomberg there. It's an incredibly powerful machine. You aspire to work on Wall Street or in the investment management industry, download this guide and spend some time with the Bloomberg. We don't pay, but if professionals, we have an academic subscription, so it's a lot cheaper. The normal price Bloomberg's going to run you $40,000 a year. So play around with a tool that costs $40,000 a year. It's very, very powerful. We do have access to FactSet, and I will show you how to use that throughout the year. Show of hands how many of you use FactSet. Okay, here. Another very powerful research tool that would cost you $25,000 to $30,000 a year, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the semester. There are a few other sample research reports. Here's the UMKC research report prompt. Okay, let's just look at that. What could that be? So I told you that I'm a big fan of AI and I want you all to use it. And then we're going to work together to figure out how to grade it. So last semester, I mentioned this was the first semester that I did this. Last semester, me and the rest of the class worked to create this prompt. So now you can copy this prompt, put it into Claude or ChatGPT. And all you're going to have to do next is say, run that prompt for fill in the blank, run that prompt for Realty, run that prompt for Pepsi, run that prompt for, and you're going to get a research report. And that is a great place to start. Do that sooner rather than later. You do that this week, then for the rest of the semester, you're going to be able to compare what Claude spit out against really what you're just validating in the 10K or what you're just validating in the 10Q. And as you validate it, I don't know, show up with two highlighters, show up with a red highlighter and a green highlighter. Everything that you validate, highlight green. Everything that comes up volunteer needs more work, highlight red. And again, we're working through this new age of AI together, kind of stumbling through it here. But this is valuable, and I want everybody in the room to know how to use it. You'll see that it's laid out in accordance with our book. So to create the prompt, it just makes my head go in circles. So there's no genius to this. We didn't even create the prompt. Claude created the prompt. So like I went to Claude and I said, hey Claude, I want a prompt for writing research papers. Here's a sample of the output that we want. I took that Qualcomm and worked a few others I gave it. Here's a sample of what we want. I want a good cover page with an executive summary that's 10 to 12 pages long, followed by an appendix that's broken out into sections, one for each module of the book I'm teaching from. Here's a soft copy of the book I'm teaching from, and here's the 16 PowerPoints that go along with all the modules. Create the prompt, the required create the prompt. Now we take that prompt and just paste it in the cloud. All we have to do is type in a ticker symbol and we get a report that should be pretty doggone close to what we're looking for. So prioritize that little nugget in this class and tell me what you get. Like this is one of the aspects of class that I need your help with, because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to AI, and I don't really think that anybody else does either. We're kind of working through this together, so if we could treat this as a real live working laboratory in that regard, I think it would benefit everybody in the room. Okay. Back to Canvas. Oh, okay, here's that Brookfield report. So this report, which was just one link above that prompt, this is an example of the output. So I still don't know how to get the output consistent with the template that I have saved out here. Again, I tell you that they all need to be identical. This is Claude's output. This would be unacceptable to turn in for a research project, because I'd be, okay, well, that's too obvious. Put a little bit of work in trying to fool me. At least slap the right cover on it. But all of the information is here. So we can take all the information and transport them to the cover page and really have something that's pretty thorough. So you can see it's got the executive summary on there. So I like to break it down into what I call the 4 M's. So I'm going to have you assess the quality of the management team. I'm going to have you assess the quality of the company's moat, or the competitive advantage that they might have keeping other companies at bay and protecting their margins. I'm going to have you look at management moat, mispricing. That's the other M, which is really indicative of value. There's got to be something about this company and the way it's priced that the market at large is missing. Because if the market's not missing anything, then the company's fairly priced. So there's got to be a mispricing. And then lastly is a mark. I like to look for companies that are leaving their mark on the world. And you can see Claude breaks it down by those 4 M's, grades each of them. Very, very extensive. So the output is just terrific. Take a look at that. Okay, what else do we have on here I want to point out? You have all the old PowerPoints on here. So anything I show in class is available out here via the zip drives. And then I found these to be very useful. You have a whole library of old practice tests. So as we get a little bit closer to week 4, when we have our first test, the anxiety starts to creep in. Come out here and look at these old practice tests. And then we got practice test solutions. And then I have older materials. We're in the 7th edition now, so I have information out here from the 4th edition. It's still good. Accounting doesn't change that much if you want a different perspective, but really there's probably plenty out here for you to work through. And then we may or may not get into some of these miscellaneous resources at the bottom of our Canvas shell here. But I posted a JP Morgan guide to the markets, some other resources out here that I use quite a bit. If any of these are of interest to you, just let me know and we can take a deeper dive one-on-one, or I can supplement this with more materials that I use every day. If you got any questions about the market, just send them my way. I'm always trying to give our clients little factoids or share conversations that help them put the markets into perspective. So they have the same questions you all do. So that's always welcome. And that's it, gang. That's the syllabus. That is Canvas. And that is the My Business course website. I've gone over the module 1 homework, module 2 homework, and the proxy analysis. You have the link to select a research company. That's a lot for night number 1. That's what I wanted to cover tonight. Is there anything else that's on your list, questions, before we adjourn for night 1?
You said that we could work ahead also, so would you care to the week 2 confiscating stuff that I like this week?
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and use, if we have the our paper.
Yeah, it'll be great, I think.
Just want to make sure that person so purchase access to the business works, there's not like access code that I missed.
Thank you. There is an access code. And that is in the syllabus.
But yeah, I'm sure it's worth $107.
Thank you for asking that question. That access code.
Yeah.
If you click on this third link, I guess it's number 4. Well, that didn't take me to where I thought it was going to take. Let me go to. Okay, oh, here it is. Manage student homepage. Manage sections. Student handout. That's what we want. Okay. Here's the student handout. We'll just download that. We'll put that in downloads. Then we'll go over here to announcements. Add announcement. Business course with insert document. Okay. Oh, okay, great. Now. Okay, now that's been published to Canvas. You should be able to click on that link. Then we have, there's a section ID that should be the code. So try that section ID. That does not work. Okay. Copy that link and go over to Edge and see what it looks like from a different browser. Okay, so did you get this page? And then you clicked on enroll. And then
Other than that, maybe, bigger options for maybe, like, 2-week trial, and then have to pay, or do they don't access to it?
Okay. Okay, we'll do the 2-week trial and I'll reach out to our representative that's with the textbook and figure out what the access code is supposed to be. Yeah, this is one of those instances where I'm having little episodes because I've taught this class for 10 years and I know what it's supposed to be, but it's limited in my memory. So that's all. So enroll the 2-week trial, I'll get you an access code. And we'll be awesome. So another favor I have of you, if you all would, this Q&A period is very helpful for me. Those were great questions. Everybody in the class just benefited from watching me stumble through with answering those questions. I'm gonna get an access code. Everybody in the room is gonna get an access code. Here's my ask. Ask the questions, even if it just feels stupid in a group format like this. I don't care what the question. It's a little frustrating for me to have to answer the same questions after class one-on-one when I know everybody else did that. So it's just a little competitive in mind. So thank you. I'm looking forward to this semester. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week in this class for a lecture on module 2. All right, thanks, gang. I appreciate it.
Mike is a little particular, so I wanted to check with him. So I'm gonna be out of town next weekend for Labor Day, and that's the week I'm turning, so.
Oh, well.
I'm working on proxy.
So we don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but, yeah,
Oh, yeah, no
I'm
problem.
working on, but the guys that I chose, Arsenal,
Okay.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
For this year, whatever. But the things that we just now, like, we have to sign, they replace it to the law. Well, most of the information is based.
Oh, that's gonna be common. Okay, yeah, no problem.
So should I just go to the radar?
Yeah, the proxy analysis will be 2025. Okay, so will most of the things. Okay, that's just fine.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm Bryson.
Bryson.
I know you just
Good to
mentioned
see
the
you.
personal questions for the individual, but my question's pretty personal, so I took your class.
Yeah, I remember,
this
but
exact class
I couldn't recall that.
a year ago.
Forgive me.
No worries.
Yeah.
I did Johnson & Johnson. You want me to do a different company? Because obviously I took your class as an undergrad,
No.
then I graduated, now I'm doing my MSN.
So. And they'll give you credit for it twice.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, who's Johnson & Johnson?
Okay,
It's your call.
okay, I think someone already took Johnson & Johnson. So do you want me to do a new one? I mean, obviously I won't work with them since I already did my own Johnson & Johnson report.
I mean, again, what are we trying to do? I just want to make sure that you have the knowledge.
Yeah, I thought it'd be
Right.
interesting to kind of look back a year from now and redo it from a,
That's
Okay,
okay.
current
That's
perspective.
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
I was also curious. I've been thinking about this for a while and I never get like a straight answer when I ask people. I'm really worried currently with like the whole Buffett indicator thing, with the stock market. It's at like 230, 240%,
Me too.
but then the stock market keeps going up. So what's your thoughts behind that?
I took that Buffett indicator and I shared it with our clients last quarter. This gets to be the beginning of the quarter and I want to shoot a little mark that they do really. I plucked that one out because I wanted all of our clients to know, like, hey, this is one of the most reliable indicators of all time. It's meaningful. We're tracking the value of the market or the overall value of the economy. Those two things, there has to be a relationship. It has to. It's irrational if there's not, and we're at the far end of that reasonable range, anyway, you manage it. So that's very, very concerning. And in order for you to put money to work in this market, you have to believe it's different this time. You have to believe that there's something going on that makes these numbers not directly comparable. And that's artificial intelligence. And you listen to somebody like Elon Musk, he believes that the value of our economy will be 500% what it is now in the next 7 to 10 years. So if that's true, then there's nothing terribly concerning about India. But you have to believe in a future that's fundamentally different from anything that we can study in the past.
Yeah.
For that to be true.
Yeah, it's just worrying.
I mean, it's a big bet. I mean, you're really betting on artificial intelligence to bail us out, both on from a valuation standpoint, and then also from a federal debt standpoint. It's a big bet.
What's your client's reaction to that?
Well, it kind of depends on where you are in your investing life cycle. If you're younger, if you're under 50, then you can look past it all. You can look back at all crashes of the last 100 years. And you would have been fine. You would have been fine. See you next week. But if you're 65 and you're at retirement, you really need to treat this like 2008.
Yeah.
And get saved, because it can knock you 5 years off of your expected retirement rate. And that's, this is where my job becomes psychological real fast.
Yeah.
If you've spent the last 30 years promising that your wife that you're going to retire next year and start touring the country in an RV, and you have to go to her and say, honey, it's going to be another 6 to 7. Well, if you're 65 and you have a life expectancy of 82, that's 17 years. You just cut 30% of your retirement off. And not only that, probably only 10 of those years are good health span wise. So you just spent 50% of your remaining healthy years because you took a bad market swing. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And it probably leads to divorce.
That's true.
I mean, it's just, no, you can't do it. I mean, none of that's taught in the financial planning class, but it's real. You got to think about it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it is. That'd be great.
Did you go to UNLV?
Yeah, I went there for undergrad.
Oh, we play them tomorrow, actually. Well, soccer. It's soccer. Yeah, they're gonna be here tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Huh?
So, yeah, you should come. What time is it? Tomorrow at 7:30.
Okay, cool. I'll go.
I'll do that.
Just a couple of quick questions. So you don't have to pay for the book, right? You can access to it. Unless it was like 148.
It's still gonna, it's gonna cost you 148.
Okay, so
Yeah.
everything's normal though. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever you click on the link, it mentions people probation. See what's my thought. And then my second question was.
So you did not need an access?
No, the link works. The link is the access. It's like the access code only if you have code.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's why my brain was short circuited.
Yeah, I was wondering, you don't have to pay for the book. And then the second question, whenever you're starting to the CFA, did you use Kaplan at all?
Yeah, Kaplan, I go with Kaplan bought a company called Schweezer.
Yeah,
Schweezer, that was the gold standard when I went to CFA. Now it's owned by Kaplan.
Okay.
That's the one I recommend.
Yeah, I have been called some days. Do you just recommend doing like key banks or like, do you recommend going through it? I'm kind of running behind on schedule, to be honest. I don't know if I'm gonna pass it. It's in November, but I have pass protection, so even if I go to the exam, I can take it next November, you get access to the 2027 series.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But what do you recommend? Just recommend like key banks and
I don't even recognize the term.
okay, yeah, it's kind of cool. You get to go on here, like takes you out, which for all your questions. You could really exams like the call and call.
Okay.
It's normal stuff.
Back when I took it, they just sent me 3 hard copy folders.
Okay.
None of it was even online.
Yeah, they have it
But-
set up pretty cool now.
Yeah, that's got the Kaplan
Yep.
slash Schweezer
Yeah.
logo with it.
Yeah,
They're the
CFA,
best.
SIE,
Yeah, that's what I
the
was
6 and all that stuff. So that's really cool. And this is the
I got paranoid by the time I was taking the 3rd exam. I was
yeah.
I don't want to fail this under any circumstances. So I paid to go to Chicago and sit through the live
Okay.
3-day cram session. That was really, really good. That was worth the money.
Yeah, I've been interested in Chicago a little bit. My wife doesn't really like it, but like the scene and everything out there, I think I've got a lot of opportunities, but I feel like Kansas City does too.
Well, that's just what the cram session was. I really didn't teach it on cram for in
Yeah,
Kansas
they
City.
still offer some of that stuff.
But they had several old exam designers, the people who made them.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up with it, but I just finished this dual masters in KU. So I was in military time, so I wanted to spend doing finance for UMass.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was doing like 18, 19 credit hours a semester for the last 2 years, and I got my MBA, and I got a master's of science in business technology, like a lot of API stuff, SQL, Python, programming, and stuff like that. But this is what.
Oh, terrific. Well, yeah, as we move through this at the Google AI experimentals class, you'll have to tell me what.
Yeah, I've got a lot of hands on with it. This is the little executive use. I got it. It's in the I used to call it. I was using the so yeah, like the executive see what they sell.
There you go. Yeah. That's the financial component that we're looking for, and it's they don't make it super easy on it with the blend of all the different stuff, but we're gonna try to cue in on the one of the biggest impact.
Yeah, we have the what each executive actually received. See, they share a bunch of stuff.
That's gold. Yeah, that's perfect. Now when you know how somebody's paid, you know how they think.
Yeah, exactly.
Dr. Clark, he and I were going back and forth one day, and he's like, "We shouldn't even teach ethics. What we should teach is contract law and design. Because once you know incentive contracts, you know ethics."
Yeah, I know what's people right. Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to
I
it.
thought that was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I'm really looking forward to getting a job afterwards too. I did 4 years in the Air Force, and I've just been using education benefits ever since. So, if you know of any like internships or anything like that for anybody.
Oh, great. Yeah, sometimes I come across those.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
let's keep in touch as we get a little
Sounds
closer to
good,
that
sir.
and stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited to use that in my business course too. I did it for an accounting class at UNLV.
Oh, they do a good
yeah,
job.
it's really cool.
There's a ton of resources out there.
Yeah, I saw the homework. Was it unlimited attempts for the homework?
Unlimited attempts.
Yeah, I'll wait those before. Yeah. All right, nice meeting, sir.
Yeah,